to our brand new podcast called The Bookshelf. This podcast is going to be dedicated to bringing you works from many different indie authors so that you can find some great new works and new authors to be fans of. These indie authors put so much time and so much heart, so much passion into their work. I wanted to give a way to get their work out there a little more and introduce some new people to what they've got going on. These authors are geniuses. So, in the upcoming weeks, months, maybe even years, I'm going to be giving you some weekly episodes, maybe even more. We're going to have some excerpts from books, some full chapters, maybe even some full books if we're lucky. And I plan to add in some reviews and maybe even some interviews if we can get some people on board to come talk with us about their work and how they got started and anything else they want to talk to us about. By all means, if you have an indie author you would really like to see on the podcast, shoot us an email or a Facebook message and give us a heads up on who this person is, and we'll check them out and try to get them on to the podcast. Today, our very first episode, I am going to be reading to you an excerpt from Choices by Sheila Bliss. Sheila is a indie author, of course, and she is an example of someone taking a giant leap of faith, leaving one career to dedicate herself to something she has complete passion for in writing. So here we go. An excerpt from Chapter 1 of Choices by Sheila Bliss. There are things I know about myself. I'm careful, not impulsive, and I have a giving heart. I sigh inwardly as I think of these attributes while Christy prattles on at the party. It's a heart I don't save for myself. It's one I give away too freely, too readily, because I want to love so badly and in equal measure, to be loved back just as fiercely. I scan the expanse, the perfectly clipped yard in southeastern Pennsylvania, highlighted by a glorious late afternoon summer sun, looking for him. The boy. I shake my head slightly. The man, the honoree of the party I'm attending, is searching for me too. I know this because his traveling gaze stops and locks with mine. He raises his thick tumbler. Heat seeps into my cheeks and I know I'm blushing. I glance into my glass of Chardonnay. Oh, I haven't seen that particular look in a while. Wait, I take that back. More than a while, Christy says, her eyes penetrating the top thin layer of my skin, of my face. Shut up. Drink your wine before I dump it over your head, I warn her. She giggles and drowns further comments into her glass. But I know what's coming next. Laurel, it's time. It's not like you haven't tried. Laurel, she starts. It's been 6 months. Sure enough, the words come out fast and a bit harsh. I know my best friend Christy superbly well as I sigh out loud this time. Again, but I find myself nodding my agreement. I know. You sure about that? Christy's tall, so she ducks to reach my eye level. She drops her glass to her waist and lays a hand on my shoulder. Look at me. I cringe and crinkle my nose, but do what she says. He's not going to change. Not unless he wants to. Not unless it's his decision. You've kicked him out and he still hasn't changed. And we are old enough to know, no matter how hard we love, we can't change someone unless they choose to. I rub the arm holding my glass, knowing she's right. It still sucks to hear it. It does feel good again to have a glass of wine without fear of setting him off, I explain. The background noise of the party doesn't seem to penetrate our discussion. It's always been this way with Christy, my first true love. And I mean that without any sexual connotations. I love her. We have been through everything together. Come to think of it, I probably should have married her instead of Paul. No doubt I'd have been happier. Except there's something about a 6'3", broad-shouldered, smartly dressed man that curls my toes. Silently cursing myself as my gaze roams the softly lit backyard looking for him yet again, I chuckle. And that's funny how? She asks. I look at her confused, instantly forgetting what she said and more interested in chasing what I'm feeling. What? Snapping her fingers in my line of vision, she orders, "Stay with me!" Christy takes my glass. I know how you get when you're in the sun drinking. I lift my eyes to the sky. No need to worry. It's dusk, I say, snatching back my glass and taking a long swallow. The crisp apple and smooth butter taste luxuriates along my tongue, and I can't help searching for the guest of honor again, as those simple tastes linger in my mouth. I roll my eyes in disgust. I should be ashamed of myself. He's years younger than me. Years! The arrogance of my thoughts and desires blooms a deeper burning heat spreading across my cheeks, my neck, and my rapidly growing sensitive breasts. I press my cool glass against the throbbing pulse on the side of my neck. Not half as funny as watching you struggle with all those self-doubts stampeding through your head, Christy points out matter-of-factly. I thought I told you to shut up. What are friends for if not to point out the finer things said Fred hates about herself and tell her she's being ridiculous? I let the sentiment hang in the air between us, taking up space like another guest in our little bubble. And I know she understands, the look in my eyes as evident in the strength of her grip on my forearm. I love you too, Laurel. Her head shoots up and I startle. Christy's chocolate browns anchor above my shoulder. But not as much as I'm going to love watching this. She lifts her glass and tilts her chin. Brandon, hello. Hello. Warm and rich, the tenor of his voice washes over me. I freeze, taking stock of the blush simmering deep and turning into a fire, giving a new meaning to the biblical burning bush. Well, she starts, and I'm preparing myself to strike out and smack the smirk off her face. She's going to ditch me. I am going to find my Mitch. She lifts an eyebrow. Laurel, come find Luma when you're ready to go home. Or, if you need to tell me you're not coming home, either way is fine. She smiles a knowing smile at Brandon, then spins on her heels in a flurry of gray chiffon waves. Wait, Christy, I can't do this. I'm not ready. Sure, the skin on my face and chest will spontaneously combust. I lift my glass to my lips and gulp down a large swallow of wine. I promise I won't bite. He lifts his glass to his thick, smooth lips. And that's all of our excerpt from Choices by Sheila Bliss. Hopefully that wet your whistle a little bit and you're going to run right out and find her book and read the whole thing and let us know what you thought. Go ahead and check us out again next week and join me, Julie, for yet a different book from a different indie author and a whole different genre. Well, not whole different, but slightly different genre. So keep an eye out for our posts. Like us on